they're making me speak into this because they're recording it. So I do know how to project, but I'm going to use the mic. And then, because I'm pregnant, I will probably sit at some point because I'm tired. Okay, before I talk about anxiety, which I know nothing about, I don't know why they booked me today. I'm going to tell you a little bit, like 1 minute about Rec Room. Has anybody been to Rec Room? Yay. Okay. It's a building. You're in a building. But aside from being a building, it's a nonprofit organization. So we have an organization called Rec Room Arts. We produce multidisciplinary performance, opera. We did Hansel and Gretel, theater, music, dance, comedy, podcasting, CreativeMornings, what have you. We also have a bar that serves things you can drink. So if you went to the bathroom, you notice we don't have a paper towel dispenser. We need one, so you should donate to us because we're a nonprofit. That's my big pitch. Okay, taking that off, putting this one on. Okay, so good morning. I'm so honored to be here today. I'm seeing Natasha. Hi, Natasha. I'm seeing so many faces here that I know and some that I don't, and this is really exciting to see the room so packed. So I started today with a question, which is, what keeps you stuck? Since I'm the speaker today, and the topic is anxiety, I think you probably know. For me, it's anxiety. It's always anxiety. So what is anxiety? Let's see. Let me go over some things that I've spent my life worrying about. I have this disease. I'm going to die, okay? Totally unfounded, but I have had every disease. Has anybody here had every disease? Okay. I'm not alone. That's great. I'm going to fail. I'm going to ruin it all. It's never going to work. I'm going to be laughed out of the room. I'm going to do a terrible job. That person will hate me. They're going to hate me. That person hates me. There's never been anyone in the world that hates me more than Karina. So these kinds of things, like churn around in your brain. And I could spend days and weeks and months in these kind of negative feedback loops about all the things that I was making up, about all the ways that I was going to ruin whatever. And really, what that's about is fear, right? I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm going to die. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I'm afraid of all these things. And justifiably so, right? Like just now, in this day and age right now, there's a lot of shit to be afraid of. Like, I'll start. School shootings. I have a 4-year-old. I'm really scared to send her to school. Legitimately afraid. Bombs. Yeah. Nuclear war, climate change, Nazis. There's some stuff to be afraid of. It's all there. And really what that is like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes. I don't know. And that fear of the unknown, of all the things I can't control, that's what causes that loop. And that's what causes that anxiety, is that I don't know what's coming next. I can't predict the future. I wish I could, but I can't. And so what that does is it creates this anxiety. And what that anxiety does is that it takes me out of my body and it puts me into my brain. And that's where I live, inside my brain. And that's a lonely place, inside your brain. No one's there with you. You're all alone in your brain. It turns your attention inward, so you're not focused on all of these amazing people in the room. You're focused on all the stuff that you're creating in your mind. And it makes you stuck. So your attention is turned inward. You are, instead of taking action, instead of forging relationships or looking outside of you for opportunities or experiences or things that could happen, you're just here. And the worrying becomes the thing that you do instead of the things you could do. It's like so bananas when you think about it, right? So that's sort of what keeps me stuck. And if any of you can relate to that, hey, I'm here with you. So when my previous career, in my previous life, I taught acting for many, many years at the High School for Performing and Visual Arts. Any graduates? Of course. Hey, in a Creative Mornings group, I assume there'd be graduates. I also am a graduate of the program. And the basis of my training with the kids was about following your impulses. So acting, when you think about like what is acting, like on a base level, it's to act. But what does that mean? It means to do something. It doesn't mean to think. It doesn't mean to feel. It means to take action. Following an impulse is so hard because it takes a lot. It takes trust. You have to trust that you're doing the right thing, and that's extremely hard to do, especially when you're 14 or 37 or however old you are. So what would happen is the kids would be so focused on doing it right that they would fail. In the stressing and the anxiety about getting the exercise right, they would inevitably do it wrong. And they would do it wrong so many times that by the time they were seniors, they were like, fuck this! And then they would do it right. It was like, the fuck this is what made them do it right finally. And when they finally were like, this is so stupid, I hate you, I was like, yes! You did it! It's like so Mr. Miyagi. But it worked. So breaking out of your own brain is what finally caused them to do the right thing and to succeed in the exercise. Okay, here's where I said. Okay, I made it 10 minutes? Okay. So it's ironic that I taught this. This was like the basis of my whole shtick. I mean, I was like the impulse lady. I was like, do what you feel, do what you want. And meanwhile, I'm like insane, and I tried all of these things to not be crazy, like for so long. My mom's in the audience. She's probably like, yes, you did. I went to therapy, which is great. Love therapy. Took medicine, didn't take medicine, exercised, didn't exercise, smoked cigarettes, smoked other things, whatever I could do. And some things work better than others. But really it was sort of like different size Band-Aids, on this sort of like massive problem. And then this thing happened that kind of was the ultimate test for me. I became a mother. Not this one, the other one. And when you become a mother, any mothers? Any mothers in the house? Okay, so yeah, you can't control a goddamn thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to say goddamn, but it's just how it is. They don't do what you want them to do, ever. It starts with, I wanted to have a regular birth, and they were like, you have to have a C-section. I was like, oh, fine, okay. So one thing I couldn't control, and then it turned into can she just sleep? No. She can't. She will never sleep. And would you please, if I change you, don't poop all over your outfit? And then she would. She never did what I wanted her to do. I couldn't control this thing. So that alone is hard. But then we had this other layer that came on top of that, which is that when my daughter was 1 day old, we found out that she had a permanent sensory neural hearing loss in both ears. So she could hear, but not like we can hear. And they did the test while I was still in the hospital. I mean, I had just cut my stomach open. I didn't do it, they did. And pulled the baby out. And then they were like, I know you're tired. Let me give you this now. And for somebody who has anxiety about things that I can't control, it was sent from above to me, I'm the worst person this could happen to, and this is probably why it's happening to me. And it wasn't that she had this issue, because that really wasn't the thing that was making me so crazy. It was that I was worried about why she had it, and what was genetically going on, and what else does this mean? And I was future tripping so hard, right? I was like, she's gonna never talk. She's gonna have a miserable life. She's gonna fail. She's not gonna be able to be normal. She's not gonna be able to go to normal school. It was she was already 25. She was just born, and I was plotting it out about how challenging and hard it was gonna be. So, what had happened is I had done this thing that nobody ever does, which I created this movie in my mind of how it was supposed to be. And then it wasn't that way. And I was so pissed about it, It's like, but I was supposed to be like glowing and like walking around with her in my carrier, and people were going to be like, your baby's so cute. And I was going to be like, I know. And that wasn't what it was. I was like so depressed. And when I wasn't crying, I was Googling all the terrible things that were going to happen. I'm great at Google. I'm so good at it. So what happened is that because I couldn't do anything about it, I couldn't change it, I started just following the directions. I just did what they told me to do. Okay, I'm supposed to put her in hearing aids? Great, we'll do it. We'll be the first. We were the earliest ones, when she was 5 weeks old. And okay, and then speech therapy, great, we'll do that. You want a 6-week-old in speech therapy? Great, she's going in. I don't know what she's gonna do, but whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And as we started taking action and doing all these things that they told us to do, I started to see like, hey, she's just a baby. Like, she's great. She's this awesome baby. And all this stuff that's happening with me is not true. And I remember my brother told me this thing, he's like, she's a chill baby. You're fucked up. Like, this is about you, like, stop putting your shit on her. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And somebody had sent me this article called Welcome to Holland. Please write it down. Please go read it. It's this article that was written. Has anybody read this article, Welcome to Holland? You have? That's crazy. I know. So it's this weird, like, it's like written in like Times New Roman. I feel like it was written like, when the computer came. And but it's like basically like, okay, you're in Italy, you want to go to Italy, you've saved up your entire life to go to Italy, and this is the trip of your lifetime. This is what you want to do. And all of a sudden you get on the plane and you've saved up and you've read the books and you land in Holland. And you get off the plane and you're like, what the fuck? I paid for Italy. Like, why am I in Holland, And you're mad about it. And then you look up and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Look at those beautiful tulips. And there's a windmill. And there's a porn shop. Like, like, this is a beautiful place. Like, this isn't what I wanted, but it's where I am. And it has all these great things about it. And that sort of, opened my eyes. And so I started just to feel better. And as I was sort of coming out of that, this other bomb dropped. And it was the biggest bomb. It was a huge bomb. And when I talk about it, I get really upset. My brother, who gave me that good advice, passed away. And that was 3 years ago. It's still sad. Isn't that crazy? It's still sad. And that did this thing that I like to call like an atom bomb. Like whatever, civility or normalcy or anything I had just went away. My anxiety went away because I was just dead. I just was dead. I was like a dead person. And my house was destroyed. In my mind, this metaphor is like I'm sitting on this pile of rubble and there's just nails and wood and dust and I couldn't move. I was just stuck there for a long time. And I read Joan Didion's book, Year of Magical Thinking. And she talks, and I felt like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the first person to experience grief. And I kind of like started to write some of my thoughts down. And I would write them down when my daughter was napping in the back seat, which was constantly, because she only slept in the car. And I would write them on my iPhone. And then that turned into an essay. And then that essay turned into a book. And the book is on sale on Amazon. It's called Everything is Horrible and Wonderful. And I'm sorry, that was so, like, go buy my book. And through the writing of that book, again, I was like, okay, I'm doing something. Again, like I'm feeling insane, but I am actively doing something. And through the writing of that, I got to this place where it was around a year after his death. It's called a yard site in Judaism, and you light this candle, and it burns out 24 hours later. That 24 hours later is my birthday, so he died the day before my birthday. I know, you couldn't write it. And I sort of like woke up. I was like, hey, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. Like maybe tomorrow. And I cannot control anything. And the more traumatic stuff that I had actually experienced, not the stuff that I was imagining, but the real shit that was bad, I survived that too. Like, I'm standing here. I'm like, I'm a bad bitch. Like, I can do anything, you know? Like, what's the worst thing that happens? Like, I fail. I do not care if I fail. Like, that's not the worst thing that could happen. I've lived through the worst things that could happen, and I'm okay. And it was like this revolution for me. Like, I don't have to spend all of this time stressing out about shit that's not real. And it was this wake-up call that was like a bullhorn. And I swear to God, when I got that call, I quit my job. I opened this space. I finished my book. I sold it. I passed a fucking bill in the state of Texas, okay? Yeah, I know. I'll take that applause, because it was hard. And it covers hearing aids and cochlear implants for children under 18, because they weren't covered and they were considered cosmetic, and that's so Looney Tunes insane. But like that fuel that I used to expend here, I started expending here. And I like became this person who was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it, I'm doing it. And if it's wrong, I really don't care. Like right now, here I am, and like, this is the path that I'm on. And it might not be the right path, but there's not a right path. You know, like it's just where you are right now. And if this venture fails, this has been awesome, but it's okay, because I'll like do the next thing. And I'll meet somebody in here today that'll take me to the next thing. And like, that's how life works. This is what I used to tell my seniors when they were stressing out about college and which college do I go to? It's gonna be the worst. I can't make the wrong decision. I was like, listen, I get it. I know. I'm not trying to minimize your feelings. You should look and do the research, but wherever you land is where you are. And it's gonna take you to the next thing. So like, stop sweating it, you know? The worrying is the opposite of the doing, and the doing is what we have to focus on. So anyway, I wanna leave you with, there's a theater director, her name's Anne Bogart. Anybody know about Anne Bogart? Okay, Shay does. Hi, Shay. She wrote a book called A Director Prepares, and it's really about theater, but it's really about life. So one of the essays is called Violence, and she says that art is an act of violence. And she says that really not just art, but decisiveness is violent. To make a decision feels violent, that you have to get out of here and just go a direction and make a choice. And it's like, what if I do? That's hard for us to do. But she says, like, when I'm sitting in the theater in the back of the room, and there's actors up here that are needing me to guide them, and I don't know the right answer, I just start walking. And in the walk to the stage, something happens. It might not be the right choice, but it's the choice that's gonna happen right then. And that's what we're gonna go with. And so what I would leave you with today is I just encourage you, when you're stuck here, just start walking. And something will happen, right? And that's kind of what it's been all about for me. So thank you.